Because I'm Batman. That's right, Anakin. I have the high ground. 'Cause I've got the high ground and you've got the low ground. La 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 la. You know, honestly, in this part of the scene, I can't but help imagine being Peter and just saying, "Will you shut the heck up, Susan?" Okay, sorry for that. Had to get it out. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is Ryan Archer Enterprises with another how to make a film series. And this episode is going to be about pre-production. Alright, pre-production. Now we're getting into the good stuff of filmmaking. So we covered how to write a script. You know, in a very literal sense, in two ways. We covered how to write a story, period. Then we covered how the script is actually going to look, like physically look on the page. Now we're going to start the cool stuff. So we got a story now. We got a story, and now we're going to start in the one of three sections of a film. We got pre-production, production, and post-production. So in order to have production, you gotta have pre-production. So, what is pre-production? Pre-production is designing. That's really all it is. Pre-production is designing and building. Okay, I take that back. Designing and building. That's what pre-production is. Really what it is. So, pre-production is, a lot of it is in terms of props. Now, as you saw earlier, I have a lot of props. Batman cowls, lightsabers, swords. I have made bows, arrows, shields, guns, you name it. I've built pretty much everything. Batarangs even, yes, I have built batarangs. Yes, several of them. Anyway, a lot of stuff. Countless stuff. So, depending on what your story is, usually you're going to need props. Okay. Props help with storytelling so much. And what I like to do is I like to draw them out on paper first before I actually build stuff, because it's cheaper. Paper is a lot cheaper than the materials you're building with. This binder, for example, is full of designs for my Narnia series that I rewrote. Now, please don't get me wrong, anybody watching this, please don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to do any type of copyright infringements whatsoever. I am just a huge fan of the series, and I wanted to do my own version of it. So I'm sure there's plenty of people that have done it. But I'm not going to show off everything here. But there's a lot of material in here. I mean, look how many pages. And that's not even all 7 of them. The majority of them is just one film. Let me see here. Yeah. This is one film right here. That's film 1. Yeah. This is film 2, and I'm not even done with either of them. Film 3 so far. Film 6, right here, film 6, 2 pages. Anyway, yeah, it's a lot of stuff. But basically, so pre-production, let's take my Narnia series. It's probably the one I've spent the most time on accumulatively in all my time as a filmmaker. So first of all, a lot of what you're going to want is, number one, how this world is going to look. Now, an easy way to do this is, what I did is I went into Microsoft Word and I just started typing out the different locations in chronological order. And I just start with very vague references and everything. So first of all, it starts out, my version starts out in the professor's house. But not when the Pevensies are there, okay? I'm not going to take the time to explain why they're not there yet, but bear in mind, this just starts at Professor Kirk's house. And so I thought, okay, well, this scene is kind of dark. It has a dark tone to it. And I put a much darker kind of emphasis on the film itself than just Winter Wonderland. Okay. I just realized I'm kind of doing Batman ears right here. In case you're wondering, I'm a huge Batman fan. Arkham Asylum. Anyway, sorry. So, I wanted a darker kind of feel for it, and that's why I started out in the professor's house. So, I thought, okay, well, what do I want it to look like? What do I want that scene to look like? I want it to look dark, with very little lighting, but I want some light. I mean, what good is a film if you can't see what's going on? So I thought, okay, candles. Candlelight's going to be great, maybe on the walls of the hall, and that rhymes. You know, stuff like that. You know, just have low lighting, things like that, and you go in and everything, and the scene unfolds. The next scene, or the next part of this scene, probably the next scene I think it was, is the Pevensies' house. They're evacuating London at night so that the Germans don't catch them and bomb them, because that would be a bad deal. Anyway, and so what they do is that they go and excuse me. You know, they're all depressed about this and everything. You know, they don't want to leave home. They don't want to leave their mom. Dad's off fighting in the war. You know, everything like that. It's 1940. You know, there's bombs being dropped every other day or every day. I wasn't there, so anyway. And so it's a dark. It's sad. So once again, very similar lighting to the first scene. Dark, maybe candlelight. Okay. Next scene, next major scene is at the professor's house during the daytime, though. And this scene is when they first arrive and stuff. So I thought, okay, well, I want this house, I want it to be a lot happier than the first time we saw it, but I also want it to be happier than the Pevensies' house. So I thought, okay, maybe do some warm browns. Kind of have a lot of brown theme in there. Outside is a lot of warm greens, kind of like the Shire from The Lord of the Rings. You know, it's summertime. Peak is summer, rain, you know, still a lot of sun though, and you got green trees, green grass, and it's England for Pete's sake, and you know, they don't know what dirt is, I guess. I mean, no offense if you're from England, okay? No offense, I'm just goofing around. But I don't know what grass is. I'm from Arizona. So, anyway. You know, but like I said, a lot of browns and greens and stuff like that, so I'm taking way too much time on this. But, basically, you want to get a feel for how your world looks. Like I said, well, okay. You know, you go through individual locations, you say, okay. You look at it, break it down, and say, okay, what locations do they go to? There may be a lot of scenes, but some of them repeat locations. So, like, okay, and, you know, realistically, actually, a lot of films, believe it or not, have very few locations. They have maybe... If you're a traveling film, there's a lot, okay? But if it's like a detective film, for instance, like the one I mentioned earlier, back in the script series, then you're looking at maybe a maximum of 5 locations, maybe 6, for the entire thing. Now, something like Narnia, you got maximum of probably about maybe 5 or 6, and really the reason being is that Narnia is it looks pretty much the same all over. At least in my mind, it looks pretty much the same all over. I know that's not true in actual world, but Narnia isn't the real world, is it? Let's just face it. So you got 2 versions of Narnia, Winter Narnia and Spring Narnia. That's it. Pretty straightforward. So next, you got what your world looks like, okay? Next, what you're going to do is character design. Character design, and this ties in closely with prop design. So like I said, taking from my Narnia series. Now, before I go on, I had mentioned earlier about the script section of this series. I had added a character. Now I'm going to explain just very quickly who that character is and a little bit about his backstory. The new character that I had added into these stories is named Alan Gentrick. He's a quarter Scottish nephew of Diggory Kirk. Now, the reason why I added this character is because as I was writing the story, for some odd reason, don't ask me why because I have no idea, but it just made sense to put another character in there that Peter and later Edmund could depend on battle-wise and fight-wise. And the way I took that was basically I took the character and I fitted him around the story instead of the story fitting around the character. So that way I'm still staying true to the original book that C.S. Lewis wrote, but at the same time still putting my own twist on it, because I wanted it to be mine, not C.S. Lewis's. Although I do give him credit for it. You know, that's the explanation. So Alan, for instance, he's been to Narnia before this story, and I have whole another backstory for that, and I'm not going to tell it right here. So he spent probably about 87 years in Narnia previously. Came back, he's a young man again. He's like 15 years old at the start of Language in the Wardrobe. So he's an 87-year-old man in a 15-year-old's body. Okay? If you can believe that. Anyway. So they go back to Narnia. Well, as described in Prince Caspian, once you get back to Narnia, they remember their old skills. So Alan is basically the Aragorn of this film, slash Legolas slash Gimli. So for example, I thought, okay, he's a ranger. He's a ranger type. He's practical. He's always on the move, always on his feet. Okay. So I thought, how is his look going to be? So what I thought is that since he's clearly battle-based, basically fight-based, he is going to keep his costume very practical. He has the fur coat, which I think would kind of be a lot similar to David Tennant's 10th Doctor big flappy hero coat. It flaps in the wind, makes him look all cool and everything. Basically was a reason why I wanted him there too, to kind of pattern after the 10th Doctor as well, kind of that persona, which I love. And so I thought, okay, he's going to keep his costume very practical, down to earth. And for example, in the final big battle at the end of the story, I theorized that since Alan isn't really worried about his appearance, maybe, he would have never changed clothes. So basically, if you stripped off his armor, he would still be in the clothes that he was at the beginning when they first came into the wardrobe. He would still be in his English clothes, because he just like, fight, give me armor. Is all he does. Whereas the other children, they're in their Narnian garb, which I would love to make, because the ideas in my head are absolutely beautiful. But anyway, everything is beautiful in your head, right? Okay, so that's how you basically make props, is because you find out what this prop is going to be used by, or who this prop is going to be used by, and what is their rough cultural background, what would it look like, and how would it fit into this world. And for example, his sword, for instance, it has a lot of green in this detailing, like the belt, the sheath, the grip, and everything has a lot of greens, because he's a ranger. He likes to blend in with the scenery, because it's all white, and green looks nothing like white. But when it's springtime, it's green. Yeah. I honestly just thought of that. But in the later films, it's not always winter. Okay, so let's just give him the benefit of the doubt. Okay, stuff like that. For Peter, the main colors of Narnia, the Narnian royals, are gold and red. Now this is brown, I know, but this is not a completely screen accurate replica. This is like a cheap $70 knockoff, but still awesomely cool. And so like this. This is a bit more the red I'm thinking of. And yes, this is a similar design to the Master Sword from The Legend of Zelda, which I'm a huge fan of, by the way. But anyway, I'm a huge fan of a lot of things, you'll find out. But anyway, sort of more of this color. So basically put this red color onto this grip, and you got Peter's sword pretty much. And if you look at the original prop from the film, it does have this. It looks brown, but it's actually a very dark red, which I love. Love the dark red. Anyway, because Peter's going to be the High King, a lot of his armor and weaponry and all the detailing on it is going to be has that red and gold on it. Edmund, for instance, he is a king, yes, but he's not a High King. He's not the High King. So his weaponry and armor and even his royal garb, which we'll see, which you would see later in the series and even in the film, the first film itself. A lot of his stuff is going to be blue and silver based. To kind of say he is still of king, you know, he's still a king, but not as high. So he's a little bit more stripped back than Peter. And of course, Susan and Lucy, they kind of follow suit. Susan has the red and gold, since she's kind of the high queen, if you will, the higher ranking queen, I guess, and then Lucy's the younger one. So, you know, the younger ones have the blue and silver, and the older ones have the red and gold. Alan, for instance, he has green. A lot of his stuff revolves around green, and he's the captain of the Rangers later, so a lot of his costume is going to be like a forest green with white on it. Now, I know white doesn't exactly blend in with a green forest, but does green blend in with a snowy forest? Good logic puzzle for you to solve later. So, a lot of the character design, or prop design and costume design, develops around the character. What's a character's personality? How would they react to things? With, you know, Alan, for instance, keeps a lot of his stuff very practical. Even his royal guard, for instance, is still really practical. He can still move in it. He could still fight in it if necessary. You know, that's what he wants to do. A lot of his armor is leather based. He has a lot of leather going on, whereas Peter and Edmund may have more plate and chain mail, stuff like that. You know, just things like that. You know, and so you set out basically. Oh gosh, I took like 20 minutes. Not quite 20 minutes. I took a long time to talk about how to design props. Oh my gosh. Anyway, that's how you come out with the design of props. After you have the design and ideas in your head, you draw it out. And that's where this comes in. Like I said, I have hundreds of drawings in here. Just a whole bunch of stuff. A whole bunch of garbage. And stuff, and you know, you can go crazy at this point. You can go absolutely insane at this point. Draw hundreds, even thousands of designs and everything. And I will warn you, before you start on this part of your film project, you're never going to be satisfied. Even in the middle of production, you're like, I still don't quite like the look of that. And mind you, you're never going to get your perfect design, unless you happen to get your perfect design. Okay, I just lied. Anyway, you know, oftentimes you're never going to get your absolutely perfect design. But you can at least get one that's fairly close to what you want, you know? Okay. So that's how a lot of props are arrived at. And so if you look at the characters, not necessarily the prop itself. Because if you design props just as a prop, they mean nothing. You want the props to help the actor tell the story. Okay? And the props tie into the character, and the character ties into the story. And the props oftentimes help with the connection between your actor and your character. I know this sounds like a lot of acting hooey, which you could probably go up to any special features of any film and hear, but I'm serious, I've experienced this for myself. It really does help if you can connect and understand the character, because then you can play the part accurately, and that's a really good thing to do when you are trying to portray a character. Yeah. No brainer. Because I'm Batman! Anyway. Hope this video gave you some insight on on pre-productions. There's a lot of stuff I didn't go over. Maybe I'll just make this a two-part. But like I said, yeah, that's how you do it. If you have any questions, like I always say, please let me know in the comments below. I will do my best to find out how I can help you with that. All that junk, great stuff, you know, stuff like that. Please like, subscribe if you want, share the video even. But for all you filmmakers out there, please hold tight, please hold fast. Hopefully this series helps you, because filmmaking is great. I love it, and it's my favorite thing to do, and I would pursue it as a career, but not right now. And stuff. So all you dreamers out there, all you story writers, keep going. Film directors unite. Anyway, thanks for watching this video, and I will catch you all on the next episode.